considerate driving. This nonsense need to stop. Stop. I'm making it my business to alert all motorists, especially those who love to break traffic laws. I have seen what speed can do. Here I am to your rescue, to help you to live. Just take this advice I give. Slow down. I warn all drivers, slow down. Take care of your passengers. Be careful on the road. Hey. Don't make it an episode. How much more tragedy we have to endure to face the reality. Less is safer than more. I'm begging all my friends. Be careful on the road.
28 minutes. Moving up to the hour of 9 o'clock. Welcome back to the morning show and welcome to our featured program every Wednesday morning at 8:30. It's called On the Road. It's our traffic discussion. Let me say good morning to all our listeners and to all of our viewers as well. And let me say good morning to Sergeant, make sure I get the rank correct, Sergeant Brown. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Mr. GQ, Mr. Liebert. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing okay, man.
Okay, man. It's good to see that you're doing okay. And good morning to everyone out there in Radio Land, under the sound of our voice. It's good to be here once more to a weekly edition of Traffic Talk, which is here every Wednesday morning at 8:30 right here on Radio ZIZ. 96.1 FM. It's good to be here. It's been a while since I've been here in your studios, Judo, GQ, but
I think it's the first time for the year too. So happy New Year to you.
First time for the year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you as well, and happy New Year to everyone out there, all your listeners. Yes, it's good to be here once more.
So what's on your agenda for this morning?
Mr. GQ, it's I just want to remind our listeners, it's nothing new. We've been reminding and informing persons almost on a weekly basis, and it's the uses of the cell phone. We're still having an issue with persons using their cell phone when driving. I mean, yes, some person might say, "Oh, man, every week y'all come and y'all talk about it," but still we have to.
Right.
We have to enforce it. We have to talk about it. It doesn't make no sense that when you stop using your cell phone and you say, "Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know." Not knowing is not an excuse. So I just want to read briefly, Mr. GQ, as to what our law says. And our law says that no person shall use a mobile telephone or other handheld device while driving a vehicle unless that person is wearing or using a hands-free device. This speaks for itself. It also says that no person shall cause or permit any other person to drive a motor vehicle on a road while that other person is using A, a handheld mobile telephone, or B, a handheld device of a kind specified above. Also, it says no person shall supervise a holder of a Class L license if that person supervising is using A, a handheld mobile telephone, or B, a handheld device of a kind referred to in sub-regulation 2. What this is saying is that the driving instructors, when they're teaching the students, when they're in the vehicle with someone learning, the instructor should not or ought not to be using his or her phone, cell phone.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's
undivided attention.
correct, yes. It also goes on to say that a person does not contravene these regulations if A, he or she is using the telephone or other handheld device to call the police. This is important. Fire, ambulance, or other emergency service. B, he or she is cutting in response to a genuine, and I underline genuine emergency. Okay. So that's basically what our law says as it relates to driving and using your
Cell phone.
mobile cell phone.
Okay.
If you permit me to, I could also go on to the child safety seat. With your permission.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Yeah. Our law speaks to the safety of our children, our youth, the future generation, because we want them to be safe, because they are the future.
Right.
And what the law says that one, the driver of a vehicle shall ensure that once that vehicle is in motion, that a child seat that contains a passenger shall be positioned in the rear seat of the vehicle. You can understand?
Yes, yes.
Correct. 2, a child seat shall be used in any case where a passenger is under a height of 3 feet. Also, it says that the child referred to in subregulation 2 must be suitable for the weight of that particular passenger and must be installed and used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions.
Right.
And number 4, this is very important because we are seeing a lot of this. Number 4, which states that any passenger who is under the age of 14 years shall be restrained by a seat belt while riding as a passenger in a motor vehicle, irrespective of whether he or she is seated in the front seat or the rear seat of that vehicle.
Gotcha.
And what it is saying, if the passenger is under the age of 14, whether he or she is seated at the front or the rear, he must be restrained by a seatbelt.
He or she.
He or she must be restrained by a seatbelt.
Okay.
And also, 5, there are a number of persons have some issues with this. What I'm going to read now is that what it's saying that the provisions of subregulation 4, that is the one that I've just read, shall not be applicable to a motor omnibus where the passenger is seated elsewhere than in the front of the vehicle.
Okay.
And what it is saying is that if the child who is under the age of 14 is seated at the front of the passenger bus, he or she must be restrained by the seatbelt.
Right.
But if they are seated elsewhere, that does not have to be.
That's as it relates to public transportation.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So, GQ, with it, I want to thank you for just allowing me to remind our valuable listeners, our important listeners, as to what the law states as it relates to the usage of mobile cell phones while driving and for the use of a child safety seat.
All right.
Yes.
Now, before we take some calls, there's a question I have for you as it relates to reversing on the main road.
Yes.
It's a 2-part question.
Yeah.
1, what does the law say about reversing onto a main road? And 2, what should you do if you're driving and you see someone reversing onto the main road?
If you just bear with me just for a brief moment, I'm going to look as to
what the law says about that. Okay.
But
and while you do that, let me say good morning to Mr. Gilbert. He's our next guest for this morning. Good morning to you, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm okay.
Good morning.
good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Normally when I see you, it's update time.
Yes, that's correct.
So while Sergeant Brown looks for the law to answer my question, be careful there, sir. Let's hear from you in the meantime.
Yes, good morning to GQ, my former student.
Yes, sir. Small world, eh?
Yes, it is. Sergeant Brown.
Yes, sir.
And all those who are in radio and looking at us and other platforms. I want to say good morning to you. I will start with the traffic lights. The traffic lights, the traffic signal, we are doing the second phase currently, and we are pressing along steadily. All of the poles are up, except for those in the Bird Rock area, and one done by Social Security.
Okay.
The one done by Social Security will be up this week.
All right.
Then we'll proceed to put the cabinets in place. That cabinet is the, as the word implies, cabinet, where you have the mechanism in
Okay.
to do the adjustments.
Right.
We put the cabinets in place. Then after that, we pull the wires underground up to the cabinets.
This is all part of the second phase?
It's part of the second phase.
Okay.
And then we will actually put the arms in place with the lights on. And then after that, we will actually install the lights, synchronize them, and turn on the lights. But we are having a little challenge. It is a challenge, but we are working on it steadily. It has to do with the boardwalk end. With the boardwalk end, it's not just a light we have to put in place. It appears if we have to put a third lane in place on both ends, from the boardwalk end, when I say boardwalk end, from Central Bank end, come across there, and from, should I say, Food Court, coming back down there, third lane, and coming up from the Bay Road, TDC, Best Buy, that end there. We want to put a third lane, so a turning lane, so you can come in that lane, stop, and then you turn when the light gives you the green to go.
Okay.
So that's what we are working on. We are currently fine-tuning the design. We had some meetings last week. We are having the final meeting in terms of the design. Then after that, we roll out as to where the poles will go. So we will wrap up that by the end of next week. We should have all of that completed and start the light work.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, so you'll be altering the road in that area then?
Yeah, we will be doing some alteration to the road. That's correct.
Okay. What's your timeline on the second phase, apart from Birdwalk? As I understand, it's a little bit more complicated.
Yes. The timeline is 3 months. The first quarter we should be completed. As you're aware that we should have started the work on phase 2 a long time ago. But because of the COVID, so the equipment were here on ground, and because of the COVID, there couldn't be any movement of stuff and the workmen. So now we are at a start and we are pressing along, trying to complete the work in a timely manner. That's where we are with it.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to share before we open the line?
Yes, the road work has recommenced, and we are actually, there are some activities we want to do this week. One, we are doing the work by Best Buy at camps.
Completion of that road.
Completion of that road there. And then at the same time, we want to do some work. We have started some work at the airport roundabout. What happened, we did from the Connery and went back. So now we're going to come right up to the roundabout. Okay. We want to we did the whole of Wellington Road up to the airport. Now we want to go right into the roundabout now.
Right.
So at the same time, we're going to do from Kim Collins into the roundabout and from F.T. Williams Highway into the roundabout. So we are going to do that area there. Okay. As a result of that, there's some delay in that area. And what we had yesterday afternoon, I sat at my desk to get some work finished after 4. And the phone kept ringing. My personal phones kept ringing. People saying, we are inconveniencing them, they're trying to get home, and the 101 excuses. Now, what we are trying to do, if you realize this morning, those of us who had to pass that area there would realize that work in the roadway did not commence this morning at 8 o'clock. What happened, we actually gave a delay factor so that people can get to work. Then at this time now, the contractor is in full gear. So in the afternoon, when most people, I don't know if I can speak for most people, when we are going home after 4, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever time it is, you're not in that hurry to get home. So as a result of that, the contractor will still be working. So there will be some delay. So I am asking you to bear with us during this period of the road work. In addition to that, the contractors are complaining that they are still speeding on the road. As I keep saying, that the project is a live construction site. We're not preventing you from using the areas, but we want you to cooperate with us. I could recall some years ago that the road at Old Road Bay had severed, and then the people from that side, Sandy Point, had to come via Keon to get into Basti. We are not asking you to go the next way to avoid the area. We are allowing you to pass. So we are asking you to work with us, and we'll work with you to give you an improved road work. There are some issues in in the airport roundabout. When the original design seemed as if it was designed many years ago. And what we have realized over time that the entrance to get into the roundabout not accommodating today's traffic. So all of that is part of the reconstruction of that roundabout so that we can make the arm wider so that you can have two vehicles actually maneuvering at the same time.
Right.
So, general public, I am apologizing for the inconveniences, and I'm asking you to cooperate with us and bear with us. It wouldn't be for too long. The more you cooperate with us, the quicker we get through that corridor, so the quicker you'll get back your road to use. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you to put on your headphones, sir? There you go. And
Thank you.
this is your control for your volume here.
Good, good.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's good. It's
Okay,
great.
good. Mr. Brown, so you didn't find the question, the answer
I'll
from
get
me?
back to that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So let's take some calls in the meantime. Hi, good morning, you live.
Hey, GQ, good morning. This Granny, good morning.
Hey,
to the general
morning, Granny.
public. Yeah, good morning to all the listeners, them in sync it, out of sync it. Yeah, Gilbert, yeah, you sound good.
Thank
I
you.
to God that when I start that thing, and Gilbert, you always have to remember that when it don't suit people, we make noise. Right? The roundabout, yeah, the work start now. So everybody just bear with it. Because when the road done and it's smooth and nice, first thing I say, the road just smooth. So yeah, we can bear with it. Here what's going on now. Sergeant Brown,
Yeah.
I want you to look up and see if you could find driving without license. Because I have a problem with this now. Right? The people there who drive without a license, I think this is what the government needs to do. And all you who uphold the traffic laws. When a man finds his driving without his license, I don't see it fit, he could be my best friend and all. I don't see it fit that a man get a ticket and he continue driving. Because if he continue driving and he get into an accident, you know what, the first thing he gonna blame? Who he gonna blame? He gonna blame the policeman who just gave him the ticket and tell him go ahead home. I think the government should get a facility, right? If you can't move your vehicle from there at the same time, get a facility, get a wrecker, take up your vehicle, put your vehicle on a compound, and charge you for the time you take to come back for it. Because you was driving without a license. So, another thing. I know that when the stoplights them go up from Social Security, I think, to up by Sal, all of them go run the same time. Sergeant Brown, this one for you again, and the people who uphold the traffic laws. Are you going and give people ticket for jaywalking? That's what I want to know. Because when all the light them say green the same time and people still trying to get across the road, and the police presence there to see what is going on, would I give people ticket? Mine, only one I don't give. Sorry about the gift card. Give, and the whole thing about the one ticket there, that was about 2 years ago, and you never get, and I never give another one. Come, we got put in the work now, right? Gilbert,
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know if when the thing done, if I could send some asphalt, because just like how you don't get called, I don't get called every single day. Taxi man and all that follow me home, ask me if I don't drive a monkey load. Lord, man, the whole them want patch out.
Okay.
Yeah, work on that.
Yes,
work
I
on
will,
that.
I will.
Okay, then I enjoy highway side. Yeah, the general public don't do as I do as I say. Please don't drive fast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, caller.
All right.
I want to speak to what the caller would have asked about those persons who are driving without license. For once, it's an arrestable offense if you are caught driving without a driver's license. The reason being is that if you doesn't have a license, a driver's license, you're automatically not covered by insurance, and you are breaking the law as it relates to that. If you are driving without a driver's license, automatically you're driving and you're not being covered by insurance. But the law speaks to drivers without driver's license. What it says that no person shall drive a motor vehicle other than a public service vehicle on any road unless he or she is the holder of a driver's valid and unexpired license, and no person shall employ any other person to drive a motor vehicle other than a public service vehicle on any road unless that person so employed is the holder of a chauffeur's license. And if any person acts in contravention of the provision of this section, he or she commits an offense and shall, on summary conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding $1,000. Not exceeding $1,000. So, caller, persons ought not to be driving if they are not the holder of a driver's valid and unexpired license.
All right, let's take another call. Okay, let's try another one. Good morning. You live? Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, and good morning, Mr. Brown and Mr. Gilbert.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Sound shot, Granny. Now, question to Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, the saying is that see something, say something.
Correct.
Right. Sometime last week, I have seen some children playing on the government main road with the stupidness with the bike up in the air and they ain't got no lights. And I call a police station and a police answer. And I explain to him what's going on. Here where he gonna come tell me. He can't do nothing. I said, what do you mean you can't do nothing? All you have to do come. He said, well, if I come there and they ain't doing it, what I could do? I said, well, investigate. That you have to do when you go up on a scene. And he telling me he still can't do nothing. I said, okay, partner. I don't know how you get your work as a police. I don't know if you get it because you got subject. But subject, don't make people learn to use their common sense. So I just want the whole island to hear how some of them operate. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes,
say
thank you very
something.
much. Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. It's unfortunate that that officer, whether he or she, would have spoke to you like that. But in all sense, that officer must have someone, a supervisor. So if you weren't satisfied as to the response that the officer gave you, what you ought to have done is to ask to speak to the senior person or the person who is in charge of that particular station, and you explain to him what would have transpired. So that is what I would have done if I'm making a genuine complaint report and I receive some negative feedback from the officer. I would urge anyone to speak to whoever is in charge of that particular station or division, and you relay that report or complaint to that person.
All right, let's try another call. All right, good morning. You live.
Hey, good morning to you, GQ, and good morning to the officer and Mr. Brown.
Good morning.
Elvin, as I know him. And Mr. Gilbert.
Good morning.
Yeah, this question is to Mr. Gilbert. You know, the road, the island main road work is being done, right?
Yes, sir.
And the scraping, I don't know if that's the correct term, of the old asphalt is being done. Yeah, the removing of the old asphalt, is being done, right? I don't know after it's been removed, what is done with it. But I have a suggestion. You have, some projects that the government might have done, and they don't have any asphalt or concrete road in at the moment. And some of them is in some areas where they are graded, they're sloped, they have the kind of slope, and when the rain fall, they continue to be washed, right? I am asking or suggesting if this asphalt, if it is not used for any other purpose after it's been removed, can't it be thrown on those areas and maybe press to so that they might not be so much washed when we have heavy rainfall. In the meantime, till when the government could get these roads done better. Because in some areas you have some terrible wash of roads of these dirt road when
Heavy rain.
rainfall, when you have heavy rain. And I'm saying one area over at Trinity Heights. Mr. Brown would know of that area behind the Anglican Church, going up here where those project houses are.
Yeah.
It has some deep holes, and sometimes you see a hole there, them like 3 feet down because of how the area is sloped. If you don't have a Jeep sometime to go up there, people have to park their car like down by the Anglican Church area by Tamarind Street and walk sometime. I think they graded sometime last month, the grader would have gone there and do some work. But I think if the asphalt isn't being used for something else after it's being removed, I think that should be done and, have the roller press it, wet it and press it, so that the road could look a little better until when, government could do better, in terms of paving or laying of concrete. Thank you.
Yes, you can respond.
Yeah, thank you very much for that call. Caller, the asphalt is being used. What we do with it, we actually grind it and we actually use it as base material back into the same roadwork, one. And number two, we use it for what you have said. We use it on some of these dirt road, we wet it and we press it in. So the road at Trinity Heights, I think I know the area. Never been up there, but I know the area. We will check and see if the road is in. You said they did it in December. I don't know the condition of it from December to now, but I can check on it. I'll get somebody to check on it. And then if it is still in a bad condition, then we will get it fixed with some of the material for you. And that's what we do with the material. We actually use it on the dirt road, which, as you said, the government not in a position to start paving them as yet. So thank you very much for that advice, and it should be taken on board. It's already been taken on board, and we continue to use it. Thank you very much.
All right, let's take this next call. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Yes, morning.
I am calling to ask Mr. Gilbert, is there a law or some kind of ordinance that says that persons are not supposed to mix concrete on a road? Like, for example, a road that has been paved with asphalt. Is there a law against it? And if there is, who is responsible for policing that law? I ask the question because I know that this thing happens so much. Mm-hmm. When it does happen, it causes erosion of the road because whenever one mixes concrete on those asphalt roads, it affects the surface. Sometimes you ask persons if they realize that they are affecting the surface and they say, oh, we can wash it off. But invariably, washing it does not take off all of the residue of whatever mixture is being mixed. And so it affects the road and ultimately the road deteriorates much faster, costing us taxpayers much more money in the long run. My question again, is there a law that says that this should not happen? And if so, who is responsible for policing it? I want to point out, for example, around the cemetery, there was resurfacing of that road done, and shortly thereafter, persons who work on tombstones started mixing concrete in the road again and began to deface the road and causing deterioration. So can you please answer my question? Thank you.
All right. What we're going to do, it's 9 o'clock now. Our report is ready for this morning. I don't know your schedule.
No.
You can...
All right, I'll stay.
Okay, what about you, sir? Can you remain after?
Of course.
All right, so I'll let you respond to that caller after our 9 o'clock report. And for those of you trying to get in, please do stay tuned. We'll be back right after these.
You're simply the best.
Are you looking for a place that provides skilled nursing care?
You ready? Are you ready? You ready? Are you ready? You ready? You ready? The people them ready, 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 ready. With a style, yeah. So all who did think me did done already, me did just a cool on ya. Tell them teacher ready, calling me school on ya. Watch me, I'm out the love ya. Tell them, respect themselves, respect the youth, respect your elders, man. Know what you are sing, what you are bring, what you are put in a song. Cause when the streets find out you know real, you come you not belong. You are go surprise to want see you feel. Take me advice, man. Me did just a cool for a bit. Now me back on me studio shit. Magician just send me a beat. Come record this quick. That wonderful who taught me the quick. When them know what me start this shit. Me a the captain, this a my team. And me a steal this shit. The people them ready, 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 ready. With a style, yeah. So all who did think me did done already, me did just a cool on ya. Tell them teacher ready, calling me school on ya. Watch me, I'm up, I love ya. Look how long me a style. And when me no sing songs for a while, me have so much hits. I beat them like a child. And me real in the streets. Wanna check me profile. And me never switched. K&A all the while. I fast than a who boost them. They must don't know about me. Let me tell you about fake friends. When I know about loyalty, me watch them, me not trust them. Cause them not like me. Them still can't do it like me. All the fight, them all a fight me. The people, them ready, 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 ready. With a style, yeah. So all who did think me did done already, me did just a cool on ya. Tell them teacher ready, calling me school on ya. Watch me, I'm up, I love ya. Tell them, respect themselves, respect the youth, respect your elders, man. Know what you are sing, what you are bring, what you are put in a song. Cause when the streets find out you know real, you come you not belong. You are go surprised to want see you feel. Take me advice, man. Me did just a cool for a bit. Now me back on me studio shit. Magician just send me a beat. Come record this quick. That wonderful who taught me the quick. When them know what me start this shit. Me a the captain, this a my team. And me a steal this shit. And the people them ready, 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 ready. With a style, yeah. So all who did think me did done already, me did just a cool on ya. Tell them teacher ready, calling me school on ya. Watch me, I'm up, I love ya. The people them ready, 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 ready. With a style, yeah. So all who did think me did done already, me did just a cool on ya. Tell them teacher ready, calling me school on ya. Watch me, I'm up, I love ya. Tell them. When me fly go to England, Europe, me have fun can done. But everybody know, ain't no place like home. Me no know about you, but me love think it's bad. Me no know what them a talk about. When them say think it's mad, sink it's bad. Me no know what them a talk about. When them say sink it's mad. When everywhere in the world have problem, everywhere need God. Tell them easy no man. From your love sink it's bad. Come take a look. More food to eat and cook. More places to see than you read in a book. If you're ready for a good time, let the good vibes steal your heart like a cook. But look, don't trouble or you'll get shook. Take it sweet, you'll get hooked. Every other trip that you take won't compare to the sink it trip that you took. Me no know about you, but me love sink it's bad. Me no know what them a talk about. When them say sink it's mad. When everywhere in the world have problem, everywhere need God. Tell them easy no man. From your love sink it's bad. So much good people to meet. Me hear the word on the street. Is everybody a sing out? Say sink it's sweet. So much good people to meet. The word on the street is everybody a sing out. Say sink it's sweet. Me no know about you, but me love sink it's bad. Me no know what them a talk about. When them say sink it's mad. When everywhere in the world have problem, everywhere need God. Tell them easy no man. From your love sink it's bad. Me no know about you, but me love sink it's bad. Me no know what them a talk about. When them say sink it's mad. When everywhere in the world have problem, everywhere need God. Tell them easy no man. From your love sink it's bad.
All right, 11 minutes moving away from the hour. Before we got to the phone line, we had a question posed to Mr. Gilbert before our 9 o'clock report. I'm going to let him respond to that, and I'll let you make any remarks before we open back up the lines, Sergeant Brown, because this is your program, by the way. I'm just the moderator. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll paraphrase the question. The question was, there are concrete roads all over the country, and people do their private work on the road. Private work in terms of mixing concrete on the road, and it damages the surface. Now the question is, and the question was, if there's a particular section in the law which speaks to that, and two, which ministry or department is responsible for, I would say, policing that act. I'm not aware of the law in relation to that. I'll have to research it, so I need a little time to research it. Secondly, it is wrong for you to do that also. Whether you're going to wash it off, you're going to clean it off, or whatever, it is wrong for you to mix your concrete on the road. And if you see anyone doing that, it is your duty to report it to the police, to report it to Public Works, or to go right up front and tell the person straight up. I mean, you can't do that. You'll be damaging the road surface. Okay? So it's for all of us to be our brother's keeper, because at the end of the day, the road really belongs to Public Works. But as you said, rightly said, we can't be here, there, and everywhere at the same time. So you have to help us so that at least we can make the place a safer and a better place. Because at the end of the day, as you said, it will damage the road surface. It's the same taxpayers will have to pay to repair the road. So if you tell the person up front that it's not right what you are doing, you need to stop it. Find some other area, find a shoulder somewhere, find some dirt area to mix your concrete. Tell them in a nice way. And if they disobey, then you can call the police, you can call Public Works to report the matter, the name of the person, or even just the location where it is happening. And we will go and we will actually speak to them.
Yeah, and from a police point of view, where that person might be doing mixing their concrete, it might be causing a road hazard. It might be causing an obstruction to the vehicular traffic, and it could cause an accident. So we want to discourage persons from doing such. As Mr. Gilbert rightfully said, find some other area where you can have your concrete mixed, and you don't have to be looking out just for yourself. You got to be also looking out for other road users as well. So we just want to put it out that way.
All right, let's take some more calls. Good morning, you live.
Yeah, morning, Gasso.
Hey.
Morning to your guests.
Yes.
Morning.
Morning.
All right. 2 suggestions from Mr. Gilbert. Something he probably can look into as an engineer and what's not. Looking at the roundabouts, Mr. Gilbert,
Yes.
if you look at them carefully, usually the heavy traffic, the heavy vehicle turning at those points, you find the asphalt is getting spongy and it's coming up, it's bumping up and things like this. Look at the one going to St. Peter's Farm right by Gillard's. Don't you think, look at 1925 corner going into Challengers. Don't you think the possibility, looking at on the runways where you have the turning pads, you usually do it from concrete, so it lasts longer, it stand up stronger and better. That's maybe something you can look into. Another suggestion again now is that the same Trinity Anglican Church, the access up to the Trinity Heights. I think right there we probably might need to put a roundabout, maybe a tree section or something like that, because the entrance there is very dangerous, because you have a hill, you cannot see if you're heading up or coming down from up at Trinity Heights. So maybe you can look at it, right, because there's no rail track anymore, so you could look at it and taking up a bit of that space there. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, thank you very much, caller, for your suggestion, as you put it, and they are very well noted. The roundabout. I am aware of the one at by the north of the movies, has the same problem too, where the asphalt is moving, and also you mentioned the Trinity Heights. I look at those 2 areas. I'll get our team to look at the areas, and then we make recommendation. And if possible, we'll do a design, we'll do a costing, we'll send it forward for approval, and then get the taxpayers to pay for that project if we see it's necessary. Okay?
All right. I smell that's how you put it across, but I'll leave that for another time to comment on. Good morning. You are live.
Good morning, GQ.
Yes, morning, Mr. Politics.
Yeah, and good morning to Sergeant Brownlee. Sergeant Brown.
Good morning.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
And good morning to Mr. Gilbert.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Politics.
Well, thank you for your information. You understand? Because there's a lot of things that happening out here, especially coming up to West Warm Estate too. I believe that you all should get some concrete. I mean, some the same asphalt you all come from the road.
Yes.
coming up there because people live up here now. And up to 2 Sundays ago, some fellows was volunteering doing it, and that is so good. Taking up that from different places, like where people dig up and so to build their house, and the dirt just there. So they take the dirt with a barrow and try to patch up the holes them. And I think that was something good they voluntarily do that. You understand? And I want to commend them. And some of them doing it from the area.
Okay.
They come help their friend, who live up here. And next thing again, Sergeant Brown, Hollywood had said in a team song, on the road like a racetrack. You understand? These drivers got the road, especially some of these bus drivers, trying to hustle to overtake a next bus just to make $1. Maybe trying to do that, maybe someone lose their life, or the whole bus load lose their life. And I know you all can't be here and there. But I believe that some penalty need to go down from speed limit, man. Something got to happen with the speed limit. When these bus drivers, when you detect them driving more than 60 miles, 50 miles per hour, you all charge them a fine. Because it's terrible on the road, The road don't congest with traffic, with too much vehicle. And you see these load of speed all into fast here, all coming from the country. These load of speed like they're racing with one another. And that ain't nice for the passengers, but some of the passengers run the bus because it way, because they do that same thing. Anyway, wonderful program, Jules, and God bless.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any response, gentlemen? Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir. I just want to thank the caller for that. We're still seeing persons still speeding on the road. And I believe what going forward that these persons, when they are caught speeding, their license be suspended for a good amount of time to let them feel it. You can't be having and putting people's lives at risk and feel like it's okay. You're caught speeding, you will be brought before the court and your license be suspended for at least 3 years. Yeah, you feel it. Else, let you go do something else. Let you go out and see if you could speed out there on the boat. I didn't mean it that way, but let you do something. You can't be putting your people's life at risk. So I feel like if you're caught
that's
speeding,
your take on it, though. But
that's my take on it.
But what we would like to hear from you, though, what does the law has to say about it?
Just give me a brief moment. Let me.
Right. Well, while you do so, let's take another call. All right. Good morning. You are live.
Yes. Good morning, GQ. Your guest there, especially our Sergeant Brown, my co-mate. What I would like to see happen is that when it comes to these bicycles on the road, that they are put back in place or implement the minimum requirement when it comes to safety, such as a bell, proper brakes, and lights on those bikes. Especially at nights, there are times I'm on the road at nights, and it's when the bike almost reached onto your vehicle, you spot the person. There's no light. They have on dark clothing. Sometimes the area is not well lit, and therefore it can cause problem. And they can lose their life. In things like this. So, and the other question I would like to ask: was these things taken off the law? Because I know we used to have to license bikes and check them for braking and then was this taken off the law?
Well, the licensing part of it is no longer there, but the warning, the bells, the bells and the brakes and the light, they are still on the books. And if you are caught riding your bicycle at night, you can be ticketed, you can be summoned. If you're caught riding your bicycle and it doesn't have a proper brake, and you can be ticketed as well. And if you're caught riding your bicycle without any warning device, you can also be ticketed and be brought before the court. So these are still on the books, but as it relates to the licensing part of it, it's no longer there.
Okay, I do believe we're gonna need some more context for this question, but here's a question that came in. Is it okay for somebody to run water from their house to the street?
Okay, I think that question is for me. No, it's not okay.
Okay.
What should happen is that when you prepare your plans will show that you have to do it. Put your wastewater into a soakaway. It should end up on your property. So your wastewater from your bath, your face basin, your shower should end up in your soakaway and not on the government thoroughfare or in the drains. But a lot of that is happening. And what they're trying to do is trying to discourage it in new development. I know what Jamaica has done. Jamaica has introduced a law to say that I think it was a 3-year period. I could be wrong with the timing. But everybody must take their wastewater and control it themselves, and you have a 3-year period to do that. If not, you will start to ticket everybody if water comes out of their property onto the government thoroughfare. So everybody had enough time to whether you're going to dig your soakaway by your hand, you had the 3 years in which to dig your soakaway and put your stones inside there. If you're going to pack your stone with your hands, you have enough stones. So you can explain that, the backhoe can't go in the back of my yard, so I can't get a soakaway. You have 3 years in which for you to even do it by your hand and do it by yourself. So I don't know, only for the government to implement that law, and then it actually forces everybody to actually put a soakaway on their property to take care of their wastewater.
So again, you're saying that it is not correct to do?
No, it's not correct to do.
Okay. Let's take another call. Good morning, you live? All right, let's try another one. Good morning, you live?
Hey, GQ, Granny again.
Yes, ma'am.
Gilbert.
Yes, sir.
You spoke about up here by Ram's direction is a bit challenged. Concerning the light.
Oh.
You might say that, but I will think that one, even though a 3-lane is going up here, y'all put down the lights them and then deal with the road, because remember the extra piece of the road going by the railway side, right? So you put light to suit, knowing that you're going to measure the road. Remember, measurement is the key, right? And Sergeant Brown, I hope you listen to all the callers them who is bawling out and asking the police them to uphold the law them.
Of course, yes.
Time to put down the foot. Anyway, I enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
We're going to take this final call, and then we're going to be wrapping up the program. Good morning, you live.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, morning.
About the soakaways at the home, right? When they're building the project houses, they need to try and build those soakaways much better, because I have problem with mine here in Sandy Point. I have to go and spend a lot of money to dig another soakaway because the water that comes over, supposed to go into the grease shop, is ending up into my septic. They ain't building this stuff them properly. I have to bring the truck to pump up twice now, and it's $900 I have to spend, and I still paying for the house. So they need to do something better than this. And other people have the same problem that I have. Have a good day.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yeah, thank you very much for that call. You are seeking some consultancy advice here. So I don't know if
should she get her purse ready for you?
She will get her bill in the mail. What I can say to you in relation to that aspect, there is a word they call latent defects. Maybe you need to look up the word, and then that will answer the question. Okay. What really should happen is that the water should come from the kitchen sink, and then it should go into the grease trap, and then from the grease trap now it will, as they say, grease trap. It will trap the grease, and then the water itself will flow over into the soakaway. But you say it's not working that way, it means that it needs to be investigated. But as I tell you, there's a word they call latent defects, so you need to look up that word, and that will answer the question.
Oh, Lord. Sir, your final words. Let's see that you are on the mic.
Yes, my final word is that Public Works has a program for addressing the dirt roads, especially with the old asphalt. But sometimes when you have heavy rain, it's all over, wash out, and then everybody calling, everybody across the whole length and breadth of the country calling. So we have to go here, we have to go here, we have to prioritize on the program, we have to change from time to time. But just lodge your complaint at Public Works, and then we will come and look at it, and then we make a determination and address it as soon as possible.
Yes, Jacob, in wrapping up, you asked the question as to what the law says as it relates to speeding. I'll quickly read what the law says, that no person shall drive a motor vehicle or such class or description as is specified in the second schedule at a speed greater than the speed therein specified as the maximum speed at which a vehicle of that class or description may be driven on a particular road. And anyone caught speeding, they shall be convicted and be liable to a fine not exceeding $2,000. So, yes, if you're caught speeding, you can be ticketed and be brought to the magistrate court where you can be charged a fine not exceeding $2,000. Yes, it's good again to be here. I mean, it's nice that we were here. I think we had a nice program. It was very informative. I want to invite those persons who didn't get a chance to call in, to try again next week. We'll be right here at Win FM. Sorry, at I do apologize for that. I do apologize, Mr. GQ. I do apologize for that.
Apology accepted, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll be right here next week, Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. So we look forward to your calls and your feedback. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Mr. Gilbert, thank you for being here again, too.
Thank you. All right.
It's 9:30 in the studio. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll be back with a representative from Coates. I think it's a female I heard on the line. I'm going to clarify that in just a bit. Don't touch that dial. It's the morning show.
Overdue bills have you down? Need cash for medical emergencies, vehicle repairs, or school expenses? Or are you looking to renovate your home? If your answer is yes to any of these, visit us at Courts Ready.